during the times where we had like a little break because of the scene switch, he says hi to me. He was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm like, I'm stunned. I'm like, home, like in a millisecond, I'm like, holy fudge. Vin Diesel just said what's up to me. And I'm like, dude, bro, I've seen all your movies. Like I mean, talk about the Fast and the Furious movies, Triple X. What's the other one where he's like an alien or something like that? And well, he's not an alien, but he goes to like outer space or whatever. Like, bro, I've seen your movies, homie. Like, I'm stunned. I'm like, in a millisecond though, and obviously I'm trying to keep it cool, right? Hey, cool Carlos, right? I'm like, hey, not much, man. Just just hanging in there, and I'm over here holding the shotgun. He was like, well, that's good, man. I was like, yeah. I was like, thank you for asking. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back into another episode of the Carlos Granados podcast. In today's podcast, I'm going to be discussing my experiences with being a movie extra. And one of the biggest movies that I was an extra in was the Fast and the Furious 7. And if you guys remember, during the filming of the Fast and the Furious 7 was when Paul Walker passed. And I figure every time I tell this story, people find it really amazing. To be honest, it was one of the greatest experiences I've had in my life. But you get to hear why. You get to hear the in and outs of what it is to be an extra. If you guys are watching, and I know a lot of you guys watch my channel around the world or listen to my podcast around the world too, well, you guys will get to see what Hollywood is like. So from obviously the lenses of an extra, which I was. But before that, I just want to thank you guys for always listening to my podcast and always watching. As you can see, I'm solo again today, but I told you guys, I'm going to keep you guys entertained regardless whether I have a host or not, because I have so many life stories and so many, I feel like really cool. Well, the journey that I've taken has been pretty cool. I've always been trying to be the person that's always been, kind of just outgoing, try things. I always like trying new things in life. You know what I mean? I feel like life is short. Just kind of sending it is what we call it nowadays. You just send it. So, but today, this weekend actually was my birthday weekend. So my birthday's on March 25th. So by the time you guys listen to this podcast, yeah, my birthday would have already passed. But you can still do something about it. If you guys want to give me a birthday gift, right? All you have to do is make sure you like my channel, like the video, like the podcast, right? Don't forget, we are on Amazon Music, we're on Spotify and Apple Music. So if you like, the platforms, share it with your family and friends. That is the best gift you guys can give me. So, but yeah, I'm 31, by the way. Man, I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest, man. 31? 31, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, child. Yeah, it be like that sometimes. Let me not think about it because then I'm going to get in the mix. But, it's a blessing, to live 31, up to 31. So I hope that I can live longer to continue making a difference, continue making content, and, just being a light in a lot of eyes. So listen, let's get in the mix, ladies and gentlemen, on what it was like to be an extra in the Fast and the Furious 7. So let me tell you how everything started. When I was at this time, by the way, it was around 2013. I was about 21, I believe. I think I was 21. And I was following somebody called Georgia, a page called Georgia Followers on Twitter. Well, at that time, Twitter, now X. And they said, oh, well, the Fast and the Furious 7 is being filmed here in Atlanta. Here are some roles that you can participate in, and, they can cast you for it. And I was like, oh, that would be so cool. Because remember, at the time, Fast and the Furious 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were bangers. I mean, 5 was probably one of my favorite ones of all time. But 7 obviously has a special place in my heart because I was an extra in it. And at that time, the Fast and the Furious saga was just amazing. It was just bomb. It was so cool. I mean, you talked about it and it was just like, a kid's dream, especially from a guy's perspective. The cars and the racing and all that stuff is things that you kind of dreamed as a kid and you wish as a kid. So I saw the post and I was like, I told my friend Ever, I was like, yo, what if I just send it? What if I just like, shoot my shot and see what happens? And I saw the roles that they had. They had like they needed older gentlemen. They needed some like people in the medical field at that point, I believe, and then military roles. Now, I had never been in the military, but I have been in ROTC programs, right, throughout high school. Well, through high school and then in some years in college. So I understood the concepts of the military, right? In and out, I understood it because at one point I was trying to commission in the army, so I had to really learn a little bit of everything. So um, I decide, to see the post about the military and they needed people called guards, right, sentry guards, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna send it. I'm just gonna send my information and see what they say. And then when they said to write like a comment section of what makes you qualified, I was like, hey, listen, guys, I've never been in the military, but I know all the concepts. I've been in ROTC programs, and it's not complicated. But that that was something that I'm like, I think that's what got me in, but at the same time, I'm like, also kind of bit me in the butt, and I'll explain why later. Anyways, so I sent my application. I don't hear anything back for a couple of days, but I think at one point I was at the gym and I was getting ready to work out. I was actually stretching. I get a call and from this number, and I'm like, "Hello, this is Carlos," and they're like, "Hey, listen, we saw your application on for the Fast and the Furious 7 and blah blah," blah. And I'm like, wait, are you serious right now? Like, is this a joke? Like, are you really? Yeah. She was like, yeah, we were interested in your profile. We saw you submitted it. Now, what we need you to do is, if you're still interested, you have to come and basically try on the suit that you're gonna be wearing, because obviously this is a military scene, and I'm gonna explain to you what scene it was in the movie in a little bit. So I'm like, oh, yo, okay. I was like, well, yeah, I'm in. I'm down. Fine. So, see, we set up a date for me to go try on. So, what's happening right now? Right now, they are, because this is a big movie with a pretty big budget, they are trying me out to see if I fit the role and the description. So, I have to go put on a suit, which I'm getting paid for, by the way, just for the time that I'm there for like 2 hours. I'm getting paid for regardless, even if I don't get the role, because as an extra, sometimes you get the role and you're like, yeah, we just need you as an extra in the background. But because this is a high level movie, high profile movie, and the budget was high, the director, I think it was James Wan at the time, he needed to choose who was in the background, right? So if you were selected by the casting people and the director, then you would have gotten casted in the movie. So I go in there and, they give me this suit that I look like, to be honest, like a G.I. Joe. Like, I felt so cool in that suit. And I'm sad because I didn't take too many pictures. There are some pictures on my Instagram. I think there's one of them that I took like so quickly because they make you write, they make you sign, I think, a non-disclosure agreement, because you can't share anything that's going on in the set. You can't take pictures. You can't, none of that stuff. So I tried on the suit. I put it on. They take pictures of me, and I think they gave me the name Perez or something like that, or Vasquez. I think it was, right. Of course, I'm Latino, so I fit the description. The Vasquez role, right? The Hispanic man with the nice fade and stuff like that. So they sent those pictures to the director, and on my email, a couple of days later, I received an email saying that I have been chosen. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I don't know if it was an email or a call, but I remember calling my friend Ever. I was like, yo, I got selected, like, to be in the movie, And I'm like, oh, this is straight up gas. Like, I'm excited. But then I think about it. I was like, oh my God, but I'm a military man. And I've only, obviously been in the RTC. And again, I know the concepts, but like, do they want me to start shooting guns and stuff, which I'm actually not bad at either. But I'm like, yeah, I started getting a little nervous. I was like, ooh, okay, so what's going on? So they sent me 4 days that I have to be part of the movie. And let's talk about pay real quick, right? Everybody wants to know about pay. So because of the military movie, because it was something you specialize in, right? Because you have to be a quote unquote professional. They paid you $12 an hour. Now, does that sound great? Nah, it's not the craziest thing at the time. But keep in mind, I was 21. That economy is not what it is today. So $12 an hour for a 21-year-old while you're in college, I'm like, not bad. Plus, if you did go over 8 hours, you get times and a half. So at the time would have been what was that $18 an hour? Which is also not bad. And to be honest, the money is not even the priority. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing it because of the experience. The money is just an extra, right? It's like the icing on the cake for me. So, you sign because how you get paid is after you're done with the shoots. I think a couple of weeks later, they send you a check for the roles and the times that you were in. But these are long hours, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, long, long hours working on set. Anyways, let's keep it pushing. So, I go on the day. So they sent me 4 days that I was supposed to be part of, but because of filming and stuff like that, they only needed me for 2 days, which I was okay with because at the time I was a full-time student. So I had to really miss about 2 days of school, which I'm not too happy about. And I don't think my mom was happy about it either. But I'm like, yo, it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I don't know when I'm going to get this chance. So I show up and we're doing it in a military base. Now, this is let me tell you the scene that this was on. Do you remember the scene in the Fast? You have had to see the Fast and the Furious 7. If not, go watch it. Where Vin Diesel goes to Kurt Russell and the older white guy, and he goes to Kurt Russell, and he goes to a military base, right? And he basically asks him for help. Well, in that scene, there's a lot of cars that eventually, like the following scene, they jump off planes. Do you remember that scene where they take those cars and they jump off the plane with the cars and they literally land in perfect single file form on the street and stuff like that? So if you guys remember that scene, so it was that military scene where he's asking them, they open a couple of beers, and I remember this scene clearly because I'll tell you guys in a little why I remember vividly. So pop a couple Coronas, I believe, or whatnot, and they're talking, and if I showed you where I was at in the background, you'll be able to see me. But obviously, because I'm an extra, you can't really recognize me in the back. Although I did get my little second in the background that you can really see me in the back. And I have some of those pictures also on my Instagram back in 2015 or something like that. Anyways, so I get to the trailer where we're having us, and everybody's military, and I'm like, my first day, everybody already had 2 days, right? Because as a sentry guard, they only needed me for 2 days, but the rest of the other people that had applied earlier already, they had them for 4. So they already knew each other. They knew the drill, what's going on, what to do. And I'm like, I'm shy. I'm like, they were like, what kind of role did you get? And I'm like, sentry guard or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. I started talking to, a person or two. Remember, everybody's in the military. So they asked me too, what was I don't know. I think he asked me what was my role, but in a different way. And I'm just like, listen, man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was honest. I'm like, I was in ROTC and they chose me. So I might need you to guide me a little bit, but everybody was cool, because some of these people, that work as extras, they do this as a living. I had some of these guys, I met some of these guys, and men and women that came from other states to film the Fast and the Furious 7 movie, because if you do 4 or 5 days of filming, that's a decent check, especially at that time. That's a decent check. So if they specialize only as extras, and maybe some of their aspirations were to become actors and actresses, which is so cool to see, because people are getting involved. You start seeing the Hollywoodish side of things, And I was surprised at the fact that some people did this full time, and I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Plus, if you have military background, and if you have either retired from the military, you might be getting some pension. So you know, you getting some money on the side or the GI Bill, whatever. Well, that was interesting, but I went to get dressed. I put my GI Joe suit on, and I get ready to go on set. So they show us what the set was gonna be like. So as soon as I go in, I see the set, and I'm just like, yo, obviously it looks very military-ish, but I see the cars that the guys are going to drive. I think it was a green car, a yellow car, Toretto's car, which Vin Diesel's car. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this is so cool. I'm getting to see all the cars. I see tanks. I see, weapons and stuff. And I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, well, this is where we're gonna be at. So they fed us, before we went in. They were making some homemade burgers with fries, which are on point, by the way. Love homemade burgers, love homemade fries, and I was like, this is fire. I'm straight up gas. By the way, this is before like my sickness or illnesses at all. So I was on point. My health was tip top. I was in good shape. You name it. So the start, before we start filming, and this is where I tell you the military part kind of bit me in the butt a little bit. We were getting our guns, and they were all real guns. The weight, I mean, it was just beautiful to see how many guns they had prepared for everybody who was in the military scene. And I get to the guy who is the arms person, and he's basically in charge of all the weapons. And everybody's checking their guns, and they're saying a word, and I'm like, what are they doing? Like, what is he talking about? So I get up, it's my turn, and he gives me a shotgun, and he tells me to look inside, and I'm like, so I look at the gun and look at him, and I'm like, what's up? I'm like, what's up? What's good? He's like, there's nothing here. Like, it's clear. So he was basically telling me and showing me, when you see that it's clear, that means there is obviously no bullets in the chamber. There's no shotgun shells in the chamber. So I need you to say that it's clear. And that's what they were saying when they were, one by one, they were going up to him and they were like, okay, clear. So, and I was like, no, it looks clear. I was like, it looks clear, it looks good. And I was like, all right. I was like, have you ever done this before? And I'm like, nah, this is my first time, homie. He was like, all right, well, next time when I show you that it's clear and it's empty, make sure you said it's clear, and because we got to both see that it's clear. Basically, kind of holding me accountable. Like, you saw that it's clear. There's no guns here, and for me not to do anything crazy with the gun. So I get the shotty, I'm walking out, and I'm like, yo, this is heavy. It's a nice shotgun, though. It was, I don't think I ever seen a nicer shotgun. So I'm like, okay, cool. So this is my gun. And then, this is where we start the filming. I think we started filming around 3-4 o'clock, maybe 5 p.m. that day. And one of the scenes again was when, before, if you see the movie, was when Paul Walker, Tyrese, Ludacris come in a couple SUVs, and they come into like the military base, right? And it's really nothing crazy, to be honest. At least that part was nothing crazy, but it's so cool because in the movie they show up like really like they're riding deep, And so I'm in the front of, this is a sentry guard, right? I was watching the door, so I'm basically like in front of the door, one of the front holdmen. When people are coming in, I'm basically allowing them to come in, in the movie. So when I see Brian, obviously Paul Walker and the boys coming in, I'm basically allowing them to come in the movie. So I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like I'm on top of the world right now. But the gun was getting heavy, man. And I didn't know what to do with it. I'm like, hey, homie, I'm tired, bro. Like, there was another guy, because I was in one side of the entrance, and then there was another guy on the other side of the entrance. And I'm like, bro, this gun is heavy. He was like, hey, bro, it ain't nothing but a thing, man. Just keep going. He was like, hey, listen, it's heavy, but I ain't no bitch though. That's what he was telling me, and I'm like, damn, dog. But I was like, it's heavy to me, and he was like, hey, listen, bro, don't worry about it, because he kept asking me, how you hanging in there, Los? And I'm like, hey, listen, homie, Hey man, I'm tired, bro, but you know we're here. He was like, me too, man, me too. Shit's heavy, huh? And I was like, yeah, bro. He was like, but I ain't no bitch though. And I kept laughing because he kept saying that. I'm like, all right, bro. Well, I guess we're not bitches, man. We gotta tough it in, you know. And that scene happens. Obviously, you know, the boys come in and we're hanging in there and we're having the shoddy and we just like, bam, like we're locked in. There was another scene where we are walking like down the military base or that like, indoor, because this was all indoor, by the way, the military base. And we're walking just back and forth, back and forth, kind of like some background shots that we're taking, which in the movie looks really dope. Like it looks, fire. Everybody had their specific roles. The guy who was in charge of the extras was, going back and forth and all that good stuff. And let me tell you something cool, right? This is not even the coolest part yet. It gets better. I mean, the story just gets better and better and better. So, um, if you are part of a shot that you might be in, even if you're a background, you have a makeup artist that's taking care of you. So while I'm sweating or while like, maybe my makeup is falling off a little bit, this person, the makeup artist is making sure that you're looking good, you're looking clean because you could be in the shot. And this is again a high profile movie. They're gonna make sure that you look good, that you look, fit for that role. So every, stop scene, they would, clean me up and like, hey, listen, I got a little something here. I don't want to touch myself. And you felt dope. You're like, you're getting taken care of. And I'm over here just like, okay, cool. So every scene you would just have a little, little your face touched up and stuff like that. I felt like a little princess and whatnot. You know what I mean? But hey, that was just really, really dope. So, I want to, of course, the cool part and the sad part about this was around October of 2013, I believe. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Paul Walker passed in I think November, or he could have passed. Yeah, I think he passed in November of 2013. So this role that we were filming the scene was about September or October of 2013. So I got to meet the guy, man. Like Paul Walker was a handsome man. Like legit. This is not Hollywood. The guy was tall. Obviously the women that were there were, obviously they were talking to him, but he talked with the people that were there. He talked with us. Like nothing, like it just a normal humble human being, man. And I was so amazed at that. I was like, this guy is legit. Like he's real, man. And when, obviously when he died, it hurt me a lot because he was not just a very famous actor, but he was really good at people. And even in the small ass scene that we were doing, he still had conversations while, the directors were getting the cameras together and they were putting everything, the scene together. He was still having conversations with the extras that were there. And it's just a natural, good energy and vibe that Paul Walker had to him. He was tall too, like legit. He was like 6'something, 6'2", 3'4". I don't remember. He was tall. I definitely know he was taller than me. And I'm not even that tall, but I'm about 5'11" and 3/4. I call it 6 because in math he rounded up. I'm 6. But he was definitely taller than me, handsome. He was wearing, I think, like a white shirt at that time, long sleeve shirt, dress shirt, and he looked good, man. Like no, just respectfully, handsome man. And I was really impressed by him. So, and of course, we got the news a couple months later that he had passed, and it really hurt my heart. And then I didn't know how the movie was gonna end up because of his passing, but this is a story that we're gonna continue. So, let me tell you one of the most amazing experiences for me. So, if you guys remember, while I'm in as a sentry guard and I'm holding the shotgun while they're coming in, well, there's another scene when Vin Diesel shows up with Kurt Russell. And Kurt Russell, man, he's an old timer. At that point, I really didn't know that well that he was just long time actor, and he's been in the game for so long. He's made so many good movies. I'm like, yo, like I didn't know what I had in front of me. So Vin Diesel shows up, he's there, and Kurt Russell, they're having a scene with the Corona scenes, right? They had several Corona scenes where they open up the Coronas, they're talking, and they walk into the entrance or the facility, I should say. But in that scene took, different shots because they were shooting them from different angles. So when I'm watching Vin Diesel and it was they're setting up like a different shot, he's just chilling, he's getting his makeup done. He had his own personal artist, makeup artist, because the big timers, and he had his own bodyguard, and of course Kurt Russell, also had his own personal, everybody's personal, right? And during the times where we had like a little break because of the scene switch, he says hi to me. He was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm like, I'm stunned. I'm like, home, like in a millisecond, I'm like, holy fudge. Vin Diesel just said what's up to me. And I'm like, dude, bro, I've seen all your movies. Like I mean, talk about the Fast and the Furious movies, Triple X. What's the other one where he's like an alien or something like that? And well, he's not an alien, but he goes to like outer space or whatever. Like, bro, I've seen your movies, homie. Like, I'm stunned. I'm like, in a millisecond though, and obviously I'm trying to keep it cool, right? Hey, cool, Carlos, right? I'm like, hey, not much, man. Just hanging in there, and I'm over here holding the shotgun. He was like, well, that's good, man. I was like, yeah. I was like, thank you for asking. I don't even remember how the conversation went no more, but I just remember the fact that he said, we talked for like a brief moment, and I'm like, yo, this is amazing. This is wild. Like I got to see him not only as the human being he is, but also, in between scenes, he's still very cool, calm, collected, very chill. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, dog, I've seen you since I was a kid, man. I seen your movies. I'm like, I actually was surprised that I was taller than him definitely by a couple centimeters. And nothing against him, but I thought he was the same size as The Rock, because remember in the Furious, 5, they're the same height, and The Rock is tall. So they're the same height, and I'm like, I'm expecting this man to be huge, right? But I was actually, I believe, a little bit taller than him. But it's all good, it's Hollywood. This is part of Hollywood that some of the size that you don't know. So it was really cool. Said what's up to Kirk as well. But when they're in their natural habitat, which is acting, they tell you not to like take pictures, of course, and or videos, or you got to act professionally. Even though you're an extra, you got to keep your professionalism, and which is very important. So none of that happens, none of this, but the fact that they took time to just say what's up. And because some scenes, man, they take time, bro. We're talking 15, 20 minutes for them to switch sometimes like a shot. And I'm like, damn. And it's a small scene in the movie. So I was very surprised. And by the way, remember how I told you we started about like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, at this time, it was about midnight. So everything was dark. But the craziest part about this, because we were in this facility, they had lights outside the facility that were shining into the facility that made it look like daytime. So in the movie, it looks like it's daytime, but we were filming at midnight, and it went on to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I think I got home about like 6 or 7 a.m. at that point. So I worked like 12 to 14 hours just on one day. Well, long hours, man. So these actors are actually working up, to 3, 4 o'clock. And that scene we filmed with, Vin Diesel and Kurt Russell, deep, like they were up, at night. So I thought it was really impressive. I thought it was impressive how cool it looked during the movie because it looked like daylight. But, I always look at that scene and I'm like, damn, that was probably like 3 o'clock in the morning for me, which is really dope. And I remember this. Let me share a funny story with you guys when Tyrese walked in. So they get to the set, and this is a cool part about being an actor because they show up and they just film and they dip. We probably were there, 4 or 5 hours before they got there. This is another day, another scene. And they went in there for like 30 minutes to an hour and dipped. And we had to continue filming, the rest of the scenes and whatnot, which I was like, yo, it's like, damn, Like actors got it good. Obviously, they're professionals and they deserve what they're doing. But I was like, yo, if you're really good as an actor, an actress, like you just come in, show up, do what you have to do, and bounce. That it was that simple. And I was really impressed by that. I was like, that's crazy. Well, when Tyrese showed up, he comes in with two beautiful women, right? And the homie and I, we were just there again, the two guys in the entrance, we were like, yo, wow. Like I'm talking about fire. Like well, this woman were fine. Whew. And it's funny because he says what's up to us. He was like, yo, what's up, fellas? I know that you guys are watching. And I'm like, we all start laughing because we're like, yo, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. We definitely watching because, he's walking up with two women on the set. And I was just like, yo, I was like, damn, that's some baller type stuff. That's really dope. So he's walking in and he says that comment. We start laughing. And when he was doing the photo shoot, they had like separate chairs for them to sit, for the women to wait. So they basically went to wait on him for him to film, and then they left together. Like, talk about a G, man. Talk about a guy who's just, hey, it be like that sometimes. You catch what I'm putting down? You picking it up? I was like, yo, this is wild. So that's a life, huh? This is what it's like, huh? And obviously the women were very beautiful. He was a cool dude. Ludacris was a cool dude. Paul and Vin Diesel were the ones that Kurt Russell were the ones that were acting that specific day. The other days, the rest of the crew was there. The Rock was there. Dwayne was there. And the other women were there as well. But I didn't get to see that part because I wasn't casted for those days. I was casted for the other days, which is very unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen everybody else, and I would have loved to take, to at least like be in the shot. There was when the preview of the movie came out, the trailer, there was a shot that I'm pretty sure I would have been a part in the trailer where like you can see like the crew's face and like there's some like people in the back that you can just see completely like they are like the extras, but they look so cool because everybody's together and like you can see them. So, and by the way, this is where like they're planning the jump out of the plane, because that took part as well, where they jumping out of the plane and stuff like that. So you probably remember that scene, but it was really cool, man. And I was just like, yo, this is I got in the mix with this one. This was very interesting. Everything that's going on, I'm like, I'm liking this. This is what it's like, and that led me on for me to not only like the extra scene, but it kind of spoiled me, which is also bad because there's a lot of small projects that don't treat you that well. So, for example, the food situation, right? Remember, we were there for like 12, 14 hours. So around midnight or so, we took a long break for everybody to go eat. Obviously, they had cooks there. They were making, the homemade burgers and fries. And they were also making like different type of things. The actors, the directors, everybody who was part of the crew, they ate first. And then the extras, we get the leftovers, which that's how it goes. But the food was good, man. The quality of the food I was given, even though there were burgers and fries, and then they also had like other, like a whole lineup of food, right? Like it was really good. They had like some fish, and I think I don't know what else they had. They had different, like the spread was decent. Like it was really good. Like when I got full, I was happy. I ain't gonna complain. They had some dessert there too, so we were getting treated pretty nice, which. Hey, I'm after being, in that suit for a long time, standing up, holding a shotgun for a long time. I'm cool with that. So at least they fed us pretty well, which is really cool. And the actors, they had their own trailer, as you always see, and enough, where they rest or they're doing what they have to do, either makeup, whatever. And let me tell you another cool situation during that movie. So we're doing the military role, but there was a part where Vin Diesel's talking to Kurt Russell and they're doing more of the technology side. that was not what I was casted for. So I took a break. I'm still getting paid, but we took like a 2-3 hour break because they were filming that in that room. So Vin Diesel's car, I think it's the Charger. No, it's not the Charger. Challenger. Is it the Challenger? I don't remember which one it was. Black one though. You know what I'm talking about? The black one was outside the set, but it was still outside the set, but it was not like outside. You know, it was still like in a little room. So I look in the car, bro, and the car looks clean. Obviously, in the movie, they make it look so much nicer, but it just looks nice. And I'm looking at it. I look at the rims. I look at the car. I'm like, yo, this is so dope. Like, I've seen this car in the movies. Again, I'm like thinking back to when I'm growing up. I'm seeing this car in the movies, man. And I decided to sleep because I took a nap because we know they gave us time to rest right next to his car. I had no shame in saying that. I'm like, I slept right next to his car. I was vibing. I think I took pictures of the car, which I don't have anymore. And then there was more cars outside that I took pictures of because I think I got on my phone or something like that. But, you know, I was being kind of just as respectful as possible of the process. But I was cool, man. I slept right to Vin Diesel's car and like in the cars he uses in movies. Obviously, it's not the same one for all of them, but you know, the car itself is just like it's kind of like a very iconic to the whole to all the movies, right? And that was like so dope. I one of the craziest experiences. I think as a guy is even cooler, man. It's so cool. And let me tell you how things played out. So again, the passing of Paul Walker happened in 2013. So I thought to myself, I'm like, yo, this movie is probably gonna get canceled. So I might not even get a shot to be in, you know, in this movie. Like this whole scene could just be deleted completely and nothing would, you know, it is what it is, you know. And but I was hearing the news and stuff that they were going to continue with the movie, and as it ended up happening, you know, CGI and his brother kind of took over the role of Paul and ended up completing the movie, which is the final cut that we get with, you know, his brother. And he did a lot of I think he had completed like half the movie, if I'm not mistaken, because the movie was supposed to come out in 2014, not 15. It was supposed to come out in 14, I think like the spring of 14. But he had done like more than half the movie, if I'm not mistaken. So the brother had to finish the rest, you know, CGI and everything. They put the work together. They look really good, to be honest. But in the end, when the See You Again song starts playing and Toretto's with Brian, and, you know, Brian's car starts going left, you know, and the white Supra, and then, you know, Vin Diesel's car starts going, you know, straight. Like that whole scene, you can see Brian that it's like CGI. You can tell. I think they did that on purpose because throughout the movie, you can't really tell much. It's really hard to even catch that. But I feel like towards the end, they did that on purpose, kind of like letting people know that this is not him anymore. But, you know, it's just I was like, man, that movie like made me cry because not only for Paul, but I mean, the See You Again song. That is just one of the most popular songs that we have nowadays. I mean, the amount of views it got, and that movie popped off, which is cool, you know, to be a part of, even in the smallest sense as an extra. I thought it was amazing. I think it did like $1 billion or something like that. They did a lot of money, obviously because of Paul's passing, which is, you know, inevitable. But the movie itself, I thought it was pretty good too. And I was just like, yo, I'm kind of proud of that. I'm kind of proud to be a part of this project. And it made me proud to be an extra because you can see the background, you see what's going on. A lot of things that, you know, you kind of wonder as a kid or, you know, as an adult, what's it like? And I'm like, I got to experience what it's like. And again, you might not like the Fast and the Furious movies, but they are high profile movies, man. Especially, you know, all of them, but like leading into the fifth one, the sixth one, the seventh one, they kept outdoing each other when it comes to that. Obviously, the 8, 9, and the 10th, we can have a controversial discussion about those. But up to 7, you know, people believe that it should have ended there. Like it should have ended at 7, and they should have stopped making movies. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker always talked about making 10. So that's the reason he keeps going with the 10th one. So this next one that's going to come out, it's literally the last one because they made the 10th one already, part 1. and part 2 is coming out. I don't know when, but if I could be an extra, that would be cool, huh? I think in the last one. And I forgot to mention my pay. I think for those 2 days, I got paid like $500 in total. After even after taxes, I think after taxes, before taxes, I got paid like 7 or 6 or something. It was around that. I love the money. It was cool. It was great. I wasn't in for the money. I was in for the experience. And I got another role because of that scene. They asked me if I wanted to be in another scene. Do you guys remember that scene where the red car, which is like an expensive car that they kind of steal, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, they steal in the movie, and they jump through what is this called? Through buildings. You guys remember that scene where they jumping through buildings in that movie? Well, I believe I was supposed to be part of the scene where they have an event. It was like a nightclub scene, but it was like an event scene before that happened. And they told me that if I wanted to be part of it, but I couldn't because it would have taken a week. And I'm like, yo, I can't take a week off school. Like, this was the sad part about it. I couldn't take more days off school because then I would have definitely failed my classes. Like, I would have been in the mix with the movie scenes, you know. But I would have loved to have taken part of that because they requested about some of the guys that we were part of the scenes, like requested us to be part of that scene. And they asked us, they were like, yo, can you guys do it? If you're interested, there's another role. And I'm like, so in reality, I could have been in much bigger parts of the movie. And I think I would have played a club goer. And it wasn't like much of a club. It was more like a high profile club, because if you've seen the movie, everybody's dressed really, really nice. I would have loved to take part in that. I got also asked by the makeup artist that they were also doing the Hunger Games at the time. And I think one had already come out, one or two, I don't remember, but they were filming another big Hunger Game. And they were like, if you guys want to be part of that too, you guys can. And if you're interested, you can apply, through this. And I was like, damn, like I'm getting all these like opportunities, yo. And I don't know what to do. Like, should I quit school? Should I stop going to school? Should I, what if I just take a risk? And I'm like, I'm a risk taker. But at this time, I'm trying to at least graduate, because I wasn't seeing the finish line with school. So if I take a couple weeks off and to keep doing movies, money's going to be decent, but school is going to be poo-poo. So I don't know if I was cool with that. And of course I wasn't when I didn't take those opportunities. And I mean, looking back at it, could I've, yeah, I would have maybe, I think I would have sent it a little bit more, but it's okay. It's all right. I feel like I made some decisions, and I eventually was another extra in the Gifted. If you guys remember, like the X-Men, the Gifted and stuff, there were like a bunch of mutants or whatnot. And I got my face. I was a cop in that movie. So something about me being Latino, being this size, and Hispanic man, not an ugly duckling, I would say. I'm decent. You know what I mean. I'm all right. Something about that, I think it attracts directors and producers or something, that to have me in the background as a cop or in military scenes, police. And I'm like, I was a cop, and the coolest part about that was I was actually in the trailer this time, right? When there's the actors talking to us, and I'm in the background as a cop, and I'm just there like, yes sir, you know what I mean. But at this time, when I was an extra in this movie, this was after my health issues already. This was after the first knee fundoplication surgery. So it was I was already in for some time with my health issues and stuff, but I felt like I could do a little bit extra again, and just to get some money, just kind of hustle a little bit. So that was another great experience. Although because the budget was smaller, it was I don't know if we got food that day, and if we did, it was probably like something light. It wasn't anything crazy, if I'm being honest. It was not anything crazy. And of course, like the food that we gotten with the Fast 7 was, so much better. But, depending on the budget and what kind of projects you're having, which is, that's what you're getting yourself into. Remember, you're an extra. And for this role, I think I got paid like $8. I think maybe 8 or 9 or 10. I don't remember at this point. But that was a good experience. I met a lot of cool people, a lot of cool extras, and I was in the scenes of the show, and also obviously in the trailer, you can see me in the background. Like you can clearly see my face that I'm like the officer, like or the lead was talking to us, and we're just like paying attention, like yes sir, like let's get the mutants, let's get them. So that was really cool. I've considered going back to doing extras and doing movies, but something that's lighter. I don't want to carry shotguns for 12 to 14 hours because my health issues in my chest would not be able to take it. I mean, I was barely being able to handle that like at all. You know what I mean? And when I was healthier and I was stronger and I was fitter, like it's just, and not the craziest thing. Now, let me tell you some bloopers that happened if I haven't told you yet. Well, when I was walking back and forth because I was sweaty, man. I had these certain type of boxers with different like this certain type of texture. You know how if you seen like football leggings that you wear and they're kind of closer to your body. Well, those are the boxers I wear now. They're not boxer briefs anymore. Like they're like more silkish. I would say boxers, because I found out that those type of boxers with sweat gave me rashes. So during the first day of filming, I got a rash right between my legs, when like your legs touch. And it was so bad, bro. By the end of the night, I was walking like a little duck, like a little penguin. I'm like walking, wick, 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 wick. I have to spread my legs to the side and walk like this. And the scenes were not finishing. I'm like, Lord, I need to go home because like this is killing me, man. Like I thought I was bleeding from my rashes. That's how bad it was. And it was just scratching. And I was like, bro, no way I'm going through this right now. So when I finish, I have to walk back to the trailer and to get changed and go home. My rash is so red. It was just bad. And I'm walking funny to the trailer, bro. Like I'm walking slow. I'm walking funny. It's hurting so bad. That's the biggest rash I've ever had in my life. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I can come back tomorrow. Like this is bad. Like this is really, really bad. But I told my mom while I was, when I woke up in the morning, when she woke up in the morning, because I got there like at 6 or 7, I was like, if you can you go buy me a different type of boxer? And like, while I was falling asleep, while I slept, I put some Vaseline between my thighs, so at least it can start healing. And then before I left to the second day, I put again Vaseline again, so at least when it rubbed, it wouldn't be anything crazy. But the boxers that I got fit me really well, close to my thighs and my legs, and it was just really tight. And it didn't. I still felt a lot of pain because of the day prior, but it made things so much better. Even the sweating didn't get to it, and everything was good. But man, that day of the rash, I never forget. That was a struggle, bro. A struggle, man. That was really, really bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was painful. That was bad. That was not a good time. Another time I remember flagging somebody. Flagging in the military basically is if you're walking next to somebody and your gun is like the tip of your gun is pointing, and in this case the barrel of the shotgun is pointing at the guy who I'm walking next to. You have to switch your weapon to the other side. And when me and this guy were walking back and forth because again they were filming some shots, like overview shots. I flagged him so many times. He's like, bro, don't flag me. And I'm like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Flag you? So just don't flag me. And I'm like, switch your weapon to the other side. That's called flagging, because I don't, if the weapon has, in any bullets in there, any, shotgun shells, by any chance, God forbid, you accidentally shoot, you can, hurt or kill somebody. Like that's what you're trying to avoid. So it's called flagging. And I'm like, oh, I learned something new today. Man, I didn't learn this in ROTC. We didn't get that far, but little things like that. It was just so cool. The next day when I went to get the shotgun again, and he told me to look inside like the where the ammo goes and stuff. And I was like, clear. I make sure I was like, clear. because I already knew what to do that time. I already knew, I wasn't gonna get embarrassed back to back, and it was cool, man. I think those were one of the best experiences I've ever had in my lifetime. And again, I want to go back to acting. I always felt like I could, play like, probably military roles. I just sometimes they ask a lot of you, and for the pay now, obviously for the pay, it matters because I'm not the healthiest person I used to be back in the day. Plus, I make so much more now. So that time it will probably be again just because I experience. But I think I don't want, I don't want to show up and then tell me to do a task that I can't do. That's gonna be just first of all a waste of their time, and then it's kind of embarrassing too. You know what I mean? So, but I'm gonna look out. I want to try it again. Maybe make a video about a vlog or what it is to be an extra, and I might make another story time with this. Just making a video talking about what it's like to be a movie extra, and not just the podcast episode. So, if you guys are interested in being extras, there's so many websites that you can get into that can like have lead roles. There's a website, I think it's called Central Casting now here in Atlanta too, that you can just send your information, like what's your height, what's your weight, what is that, your weight, whatever, your length, your shoulders, all that stuff. So it's really cool process because now they have pictures of you, and if they have pictures of you, they can select you for a certain role that a certain director or casting agent is asking, which is so dope. You don't have to constantly apply. They actually send you roles that fit you, which is, to be honest, really cool. I haven't gotten a lot of those recently yet because of like the strike that was going on in Hollywood. But, Atlanta became, the Hollywood South. So many movies have been filmed here. I mean, from the Avengers to like the Fast and the Furious, and so many big name movies have been filmed in Atlanta because now we have a lot of like casting and sets and stuff. Like the Tyler Perry sets, I went to that a couple times as well, and it's really cool. I think it's a really good experience. If you're gonna do this for a job, you're really gonna have to hustle a lot, long hours, and the schedule is not really set. Like you want it to be always switches. So I wouldn't say I recommend that, but if you're trying to make some extra money and you have time, why not? You never know what could happen. You never know what kind of experience you're gonna live on forever with. So, and eventually you can tell your kids and maybe your podcast or your YouTube channel, right? So, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I have for you today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I think it's again a really cool experience, a really cool story for me to share with you guys. If you have any questions about it, you can always ask me. Don't forget to comment on the YouTube section. If you're watching this, and don't forget to like the channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and subscribe to all the platforms that we're in, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Show some love, leave a rating. Hopefully it's 5-star. If not, keep it to yourself. But no, I'm just kidding. But I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for listening to another podcast of the Carlos Granados podcast. And don't forget, I will keep hosting people, except, the hosting people, it becomes a little bit harder times, plus it's been my birthday. I've been traveling a little bit. It gets a little mixy, but I promise you, I'm going to keep having great content for you guys. And if not, let's keep talking about story times when I'm alone and we're alone together here, I think I have so many good stories that you will get to know me better, and you'll get to see some of the things that I've been through. And this time around, I wanted to make it something that was really cool. Unlike last time that I did it, a podcast with myself was, it was more emotional, more heartfelt for sure. But I have a little bit of everything, man. I have a lot, a lot of bit of everything. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining me again. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. You're always missed, homie, and I always have you in my heart because of that. And the Fast and Furious movies will always be in my heart too. Hey, just out of respect, and to me, the movies have always been really cool. So thank you guys for the love. Thank you guys for watching. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And here's to 31. I can't believe it. Hey, it be like that sometimes. See you guys.